Greetings, YouTube. I was poking around on the Pathfinder Ultimate Equipment the other day on my phone. I have an app that has that on there. And looking at wondrous items. And I was looking through items for the next slot. And one of the items in there is a collar that if you put it on an animal companion, it instantaneously gives it a +2 bonus to its intelligence, changing it officially from an animal companion to a magical beast, because now it is more intelligent than an animal. An animal has a maximum intelligence of 2. 3 and up is the purview of truly sapient beings. So your animal companion has now got an intelligence of 4, but it's still your animal companion. And if you leave the collar on the animal companion for a week, it is then affected by the awaken spell, and the collar becomes non-magical. And the awaken spell makes an animal or a plant fully sapient. It gives it a bonus to its intelligence. You roll it essentially, so their intelligence like an NPC or a player character. And they don't normally an awaken spell. They don't have any allegiance to you, but they do have a pleasant disposition towards you because you are the one that granted them. Sorry, distracted by, I don't know what this is. All right, distracted by something on my desk. Don't know what that is. Oh, it's a lens. Okay, now I know what it is. It's a lens for my cell phone. Normally, once they become sapient, they're just people. They're furry or leafy people. But this collar means that the animal companion is still your animal companion, but it's a people. And that rubbed me the wrong way. However, familiars, which are essentially are people as well, don't rub me the wrong way. So I've been trying to figure out, why is it that I have no problem with a familiar that could have a 10 or a 13 intelligence at 20th level. I think a 13 is where it caps out. And if you're playing, say, a sorcerer who has the arcane bloodline, so you have a familiar, it's very probable that your familiar ends up with the higher intelligence score than your sorcerer has, because your sorcerer doesn't need a high intelligence score. Their spells are fueled by charisma. They could be all smile and nothing upstairs. And I don't have a problem with that, but it bothers me that your animal companion is now a people, because that seems like slavery to some way, or indentured servitude, whereas the familiar doesn't. So I've been trying to piece that apart, like, why does one bother me and why does the other not bother me? And I think it might have to do with the fact that I'm kind of viewing the familiar as being an extension of the magical ability of the spellcaster, whether you're a wizard or a sorcerer. That, or a witch, who have actually their familiars are actually their spell repositories as well. That's an extension. That you are imbuing this creature with part of you. And if the creature dies, you could then imbue that same force into a new creature. Or if you want to upgrade at some later date, you can get a more powerful familiar if you want to. It always seems kind of cheesy. It's like, thanks, you've been around here for 8 or 9 levels, but I've decided to upgrade, so you get to go back to being just an ordinary, everyday, dumb animal. Bye! That seems... I would want to have a real talk with a player character with that kind of a flippant attitude. There would have to be some kind of in-game repercussions for that kind of callousness in my book. Unless the character is evil or something, or neutral, kind of neutral and just very self-centered. But still, I think there should be repercussions. You burn a bridge like that, something should happen. So I kind of like the idea of you pick your familiar and you stick with your familiar. That's my thing. But I had a high-level ranger whose portrait is sitting on that wall over there, who had a familiar that was a pseudo-dragon. I can't remember how he got the familiar. Were you allowed to have familiars back in first edition? I don't remember. I'd have to look it up, I guess. But he had a familiar, and it was a pseudo-dragon. Um, and he eventually mutated. He had hands. Yeah, we went to Gamma World. He got mutated. It's a very strange campaign. Um, but I think that's why it doesn't bother me that a familiar is a people, because I'm viewing them as an extension of the spellcaster. Whereas the animal companion is an animal, your pet, your companion. I mean, yes, my cat Moonpie over there is a pet. I legally own that animal. But I really can consider her to be a companion, that she lives with me. She is not my property. Not to mention, it's a cat. You can't really get a cat to do what you want it to do. Take my word for it. She loves to like stand in front of our television while we're watching movies. I don't know why she does this, but she finds it wonderfully entertaining. And if I were to grant her intelligence, I'd expect her just to be a person like anybody else that walks into my house. Anyone else that's in my family or it's a friend of mine. Either it's a family by bond or by blood. And it just strikes me as very strange as having a familiar that is that much of a person. Now, I don't have a problem, say, for example, if you had access to a limitless bunch of wishes and wishing all of the animal companions' stats as high as you can get them to go, except for the intelligence. Leave the intelligence alone in my book. Let them be an animal. Very powerful, very tough animal, admittedly, and one with numerous abilities well beyond those of an ordinary animal, because they're an animal companion, and able to communicate with you through training and share spells with you and such in a way that no normal animal can. But still, they're your pet. They're your companion. They aren't your familiar. Isn't there there's a prestige class that fuses your familiar and your companion? Isn't there? Is it the Hierophant? I think. I'm not positive. I know that that is an option out there if you are both have wizard classes and wizard levels and druid levels. You can fuse those two together and you get one. So that's kind of the both of those things. That you're an extension of you, but it's also a beefier animal. So I guess that doesn't bother me a whole lot either. But it does bug me that you suddenly turned your animal companion into a person, and that you still expect your person to serve you. That seems weird to me. So I've rambled on way too much and about things that had nothing to do with gaming whatsoever, because I'm easily distracted. Oh, look, it's shiny. So tell me, do you see a distinction between animal companions and familiars? Or you consider them the same thing, so you don't understand my confusion. Do you think that it's weird to have an animal companion that had a full intelligence and so is a person in every way, shape, and form, other than being person? I mean, mentally wise, obviously they're still animal shaped. But in a fantasy campaign, let's face it, lots of things are animal shaped and monster shaped, and they're still people. So let's talk about familiars and animal companions and where we draw the lines, if we draw lines, and should animal companions be people?